What if a band wasn't just trying to make hits, but trying to save the world? In 1976, 4 teenagers in Dublin started a journey that would do more than just sell millions of albums. It would change the very soul of rock and roll. And this is the story of how U2, a band forged in teenage ambition, became the defining sound for generations, rewriting the rules of what a rock band could be. To explore more untold stories and the complete timelines of your favorite artists, make sure you subscribe to Timelines Unlocked for your front row seat to the evolution of music's greatest icons. The story begins in the most unlikely of places, the kitchen of drummer Larry Mullen Jr., who, at just 14 years old, posted a note on his school's bulletin board seeking musicians. The group that assembled was a study in contrasts. Adam Clayton on bass, the confident, cool one. David Evans, soon to be known as The Edge, a quiet genius crafting sounds no one had ever heard from a guitar. And the charismatic, restless frontman Paul Hewson, who would become Bono. They called themselves The Hype, then Feedback, before settling on U2. They were raw and technically limited, but their chemistry was undeniable, fueled by a shared belief that their music could be a force for something bigger than themselves. In the late 70s Dublin scene, dominated by punk's raw energy, U2 stood apart. They weren't just angry, they were yearning. Their early sound, shaped by producer Steve Lillywhite, was atmospheric and urgent. Their 1980 debut album, Boy, captured the turmoil of adolescence with a soaring, epic quality. The Edge's signature use of delay pedals created a wall of shimmering, rhythmic sound that could fill a stadium, while Bono's vocals were a passionate plea, full of hope and desperation. Songs like I Will Follow were declarations of faith and loyalty, setting the stage for a band that would always wear its heart on its sleeve. As the 80s dawned, U2 began to merge their spiritual introspection with a growing political conscience. While 1981's October was steeped in Christian faith and doubt, 1983's War was a Molotov cocktail of an album. It was direct, angry, and confrontational. Sunday Bloody Sunday was a visceral cry against the violence in Northern Ireland, while New Year's Day became an anthem for the Polish Solidarity movement. This wasn't background music, it was a call to action. Their reputation as a live act exploded with their legendary 1983 performance at Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. In the pouring rain, surrounded by fiery torches, U2 delivered one of the most iconic concerts in rock history, proving their music wasn't just for stereos, it was an elemental, communal experience. The world truly took notice on July 13, 1985, at Live Aid. In a lineup of rock royalty, U2 delivered a star-making performance. During a 12-minute version of Bad, Bono leaped off the stage and into the crowd to dance with a fan, a moment of pure, unscripted connection, broadcast to nearly 2 billion people. It was a perfect display of their power, epic music combined with a profound intimacy. This set the stage for their masterpiece. Working with producers Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois, they had already explored more ambient textures on the unforgettable Fire. But 1987's The Joshua Tree was a different beast entirely. It was a sprawling cinematic album that explored America's mythic landscapes and spiritual voids, spawning timeless anthems like Where the Streets Have No Name, With or Without You, and I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. U2 were no longer just a big band. They were the biggest and most important band on the planet. But after conquering the world with sincerity, they decided to tear it all down. The 1988 film and album, Rattle and Hum, was met with a backlash, with critics accusing them of being self-important and preachy. So, U2 fled to Berlin, the city of reinvention, to kill their old selves. The sessions were fraught with tension, and the band nearly broke up until a breakthrough with the song One unified them. The result was 1991's Achtung Baby, a dark, industrial, and ironic masterpiece. It was a seismic shift. The earnestness was gone, replaced by distorted guitars, electronic beats, and a cynical worldview. The accompanying Zoo TV tour was a revolutionary sensory overload, with giant video screens, prank calls to the White House, and Bono performing as alter egos like the leather-clad The Fly and the demonic Macfisto. It was a brilliant satire of media, celebrity, and rock stardom, and it redefined what a stadium concert could be. Throughout the 90s, they continued to experiment, pushing further into electronic and dance music with the spontaneous album Zooropa and the deeply divisive Pop. The 1997 album Pop was a full-on embrace of techno and club culture, and the accompanying Pop Mart tour saw them performing on a stage featuring a giant golden arch and a 100-foot-long video screen. For many, it felt like a step too far, a joke that had lost its punchline. But this period of fearless and sometimes flawed experimentation proved that U2 would rather risk failure than become a nostalgia act. They were committed to reflecting the times, no matter how uncomfortable it made them or their audience. As the new millennium dawned, U2 reinvented themselves once again, this time by returning to what they did best: writing anthems. The 2000 album All That You Can't Leave Behind was a heartfelt return to form, stripped of irony and full of hope. The lead single, Beautiful Day, became a global anthem of resilience and joy. Following the 9/11 attacks, the band's music took on a new resonance. Their 2002 Super Bowl halftime performance, where the bus projected the names of the victims onto a giant screen while playing Where the Streets Have No Name, was a moment of profound national healing and cemented their status as a band for the big moments. They continued this triumphant return with 2004's How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, which delivered more classic rock hits like Vertigo. While the band was reclaiming its stadium rock throne, Bono was solidifying his role as a global statesman. He co-founded organizations like the One Campaign to fight extreme poverty and AIDS, using his fame to lobby world leaders and raise billions of dollars. This activism wasn't a side project. It was woven into the fabric of the band's identity. U2 proved that a rock band could be a political force, blurring the lines between art, commerce, and social justice in a way no other group had ever managed. In the modern era, U2 has continued to challenge themselves and the industry. Their 360 tour was the highest-grossing tour of all time, featuring a colossal stage called The Claw that allowed them to play in the round. They also sparked major controversy in 2014 by automatically releasing their album Songs of Innocence to every iTunes user in the world, a move that was seen by some as innovative and by others as invasive. Even now, decades into their career, they continue to push the boundaries of live performance with their groundbreaking residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas, using cutting-edge technology to create an immersive visual and sonic experience unlike anything seen before. From a teenager's kitchen in Dublin to the world's most advanced arenas, U2's timeline is a story of relentless evolution. They changed music not just with their sound, that epic, delay-drenched guitar, and that soaring, passionate voice, but with their ambition. They proved a band could be politically charged without sacrificing commercial success, that they could be deeply sincere and bitingly ironic, and that they could endure for nearly half a century by never being afraid to destroy what they were in order to become something new. They built a legacy on risk, reinvention, and the radical belief that a song really could change the world. Now I want to hear from you. What U2 song defines their legacy for you? Is it the raw power of Sunday, Bloody Sunday, the epic sweep of Where the Streets Have No Name, or the intimate heartbreak of One? Let me know your definitive U2 track in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss another episode of Timelines Unlocked.